As dawn breaks over the endless Serengeti, golden light spills across a landscape shaped by millennia of natural forces. Here, beneath the vast African sky, a breathtaking phenomenon is set in motion, one that defines the rhythm of life for countless creatures. The Great Migration is the world's most extraordinary overland journey, a living river of animals that surges across the plains in a relentless quest for survival. Over 1 million wildebeest, joined by hundreds of thousands of zebras and gazelles, form vast, shifting herds. Each animal is driven by instinct, responding to subtle cues in the environment, changes in wind, the scent of rain, the distant rumble of thunder, heads raised, nostrils flaring. The wildebeest sense the promise of rain on the wind. Their movements are synchronized, a collective response to the invisible signals that guide them toward life-sustaining pastures. The search for fresh grass is both urgent and methodical. As the rains transform the land, the herds pause to graze, replenishing their strength before the next leg of their journey. Their migration traces a vast, looping circuit, nearly 3,000 kilometers, across grasslands, woodlands, and rivers. This epic route is etched into the memory of each generation, passed down through instinct and experience. The cycle of life is ever present. Calves are born in synchrony, their first moments marked by both vulnerability and astonishing resilience. Predators linger at the periphery, ever watchful, as the newborns struggle to their feet and join the moving throng. The Serengeti itself is a living tapestry. Its rolling plains, scattered acacia trees, and distant hills, providing both sanctuary and challenge for the migrating herds. Seasons sculpt the land with dramatic contrasts. Parched earth, cracked and lifeless, is suddenly revived by the arrival of rain, transforming into a lush expanse teeming with new growth. December brings the first storms to the southern valleys. Sheets of rain sweep across the plains, coaxing dormant seeds to life and painting the landscape in vibrant greens. This is the moment the wildebeest have awaited. Calves are born in astonishing numbers, their mothers fiercely protective as they nudge their young to stand and move with the herd. Every mouthful of grass, every sip of water is shadowed by danger. Predators and prey are locked in a delicate balance, each shaping the fate of the other. Acacia woodlands offer fleeting shelter, but their tangled shadows conceal silent hunters, lionesses and leopards, perfectly adapted to ambush. On the open plains, vigilance is constant. The herds rely on numbers and keen senses, scanning the horizon for the slightest sign of movement. Rivers and rocky outcrops carve the landscape, presenting both obstacles and opportunities. The herds must navigate these features with caution, ever aware of lurking threats. The migration's path is never straight. It twists and turns, shaped by the unpredictable patterns of rainfall and the shifting availability of food and water. Moving as one, the herds form a living current, each animal's movement influencing the next, creating a seamless flow across the savanna. Their constant motion prevents overgrazing, allowing the land to recover and ensuring the survival of both the herds and the ecosystem they sustain. The ground trembles beneath the thunder of hooves. The air vibrates with the low, resonant calls of wildebeest, a soundscape that echoes across the plains and signals the presence of the herd. As the sun sets, the silhouettes of thousands of animals stretch across the horizon, a living testament to the power and beauty of the wild. Yet every step is fraught with uncertainty. The herds hesitate at riverbanks, sensing unseen dangers beneath the surface, or scatter in alarm at the sudden approach of a predator. The youngest and weakest struggle to keep pace, their survival hinging on their ability to remain with the group and avoid falling behind. Predators focus on the vulnerable, calves separated from their mothers, the old and infirm. Each encounter a test of instinct and endurance. Lions, hyenas, cheetahs, and leopards prowl the margins, their presence a constant reminder of the ever-present threat that shapes every decision, every movement. The land itself is a formidable adversary. Rivers, swollen with rain, become deadly gauntlets, while arid stretches test the endurance of even the strongest. Not all will survive. The remains of the fallen nourish scavengers and return vital nutrients to the soil, completing the cycle of life and death. The faces of the wildebeest reflect the toll of the journey, exhaustion, determination, and the unyielding will to endure. This is the essence of the Great Migration, a ceaseless struggle, a dance of survival, and a testament to the intricate web of life that defines the Serengeti. Amidst the endless undulating sea of wildebeest, where the earth itself seems to move beneath a living tide, a new story quietly unfolds. It is the birthing season on the Serengeti, a brief window when the plains are transformed into a nursery. The air is thick with anticipation, and every mother is on edge, knowing that hope and peril walk hand in hand. In just 3 short weeks, nearly 90% of all wildebeest calves will take their first breaths. The synchronized arrival of so many young is nature's calculated gamble, a flood of life meant to overwhelm the ever-watchful predators. This mass birthing is a shield, a living strategy. By saturating the plains with vulnerable newborns, the herd increases the odds that many will survive the gauntlet of their first days. On a patch of grass softened by recent rains, a female wildebeest separates herself from the herd. Her flanks tremble with effort as she lowers herself to the ground, the contractions coming in waves. Around her, the chorus of the herd continues, but for a moment, her world narrows to the struggle of birth. With a final push, a slick, fragile calf emerges, blinking in the harsh daylight. She is all spindly legs and oversized eyes, her coat still damp and glistening in the sun. This is Survivor. Her journey begins in a world where every moment is a test and every breath is a victory. The air is alive with the scent of birth, a signal that does not go unnoticed. From the very first second, the clock is ticking for the newborn. Instinct drives her to rise. She has less than an hour to master the art of standing and running, skills that will mean the difference between life and death. Her mother, vigilant and anxious, nudges her gently, urging her to her feet. The bond between them is immediate and fierce, a lifeline in the chaos. Survivor's first attempts are clumsy. Her legs splay and buckle beneath her, the ground unfamiliar and unsteady. But instinct is relentless. Again and again she tries, her determination etched in every trembling muscle. With each attempt she grows steadier, her legs learning the rhythm of balance and movement. At last she stands, wobbly but upright, her head high as she surveys the vast, intimidating world. Her mother licks her clean, removing the scent of birth and strengthening the bond that will be her only protection in the days ahead. Survivor must quickly memorize her mother's scent, a unique signature in a sea of bodies. She listens for the distinctive call, a sound she must recognize above the cacophony of the herd. For a calf, even a moment's separation from her mother or the herd spells almost certain doom. The world is a sensory overload, blinding sunlight, the constant lowing of thousands of wildebeest, the sharp tang of trampled grass and fresh earth. Survivor is dwarfed by the herd, a tiny figure encircled by a forest of legs and shifting bodies. From her low vantage point, the world is a maze of moving limbs and sharp horns, each step a potential danger. The air is thick with dust, kicked up by thousands of hooves, and the sound of anxious mothers calling to their young. Already the herd is on the move. Survivor must summon every ounce of strength to keep pace, her legs trembling with the effort. Her mother remains close, guiding her through the shifting mass, shielding her from the jostling bodies and hidden threats. Each step is a lesson in survival. The ground is uneven, riddled with holes and tufts of grass, and every stumble could mean falling behind. The herd is tense, every adult alert to the ever-present threat of predators. The scent of afterbirth drifts on the breeze, drawing the attention of scavengers and hunters alike. Hyenas prowl the periphery, their noses twitching, eyes scanning for any sign of weakness or separation. In the tall grass, lionesses lie in wait, their bodies pressed low, muscles tensed for the explosive chase that could come at any moment. For Survivor, the world is filled with giants, some protectors, others predators. The herd's only defense is unity. When danger threatens, the adults form a living barricade, horns out, bodies pressed together, a formidable wall against the hungry. Survivor's existence hangs by a thread, dependent on her mother's vigilance, the herd's protection, and her own growing strength. In this vast, untamed wilderness, every heartbeat is a triumph, and every step forward is a testament to the will to live. The fragile peace of Survivor's first hours is shattered in an instant as the Serengeti's delicate balance tips from calm to chaos. A sudden panic ripples through the herd, a wave of instinctual fear that surges from animal to animal in a heartbeat. From the golden veil of tall grass, a lioness emerges, her body low, muscles coiled, every movement calculated and silent. She is the embodiment of predatory focus, her senses honed by generations of survival. Chaos erupts. The herd explodes into motion, hooves drumming the earth, dust swirling in frantic clouds. Each wildebeest is driven by a primal urge to flee, to survive at any cost. In the confusion, the tiny calf is knocked off her feet, her fragile body buffeted by the stampede. She tumbles, disoriented, and is swept away from her mother by the living tide. Lost among a blur of pounding legs, Survivor's world is reduced to noise, dust, and fear. Her mother's scent vanishes, replaced by the overwhelming odor of panic and trampled grass. For a newborn, this is the ultimate nightmare. Alone and disoriented, she is now the most vulnerable creature on the entire plain, an easy target for any predator. Dazed and terrified, Survivor stumbles to her feet, her legs trembling as she calls out for her mother, a high, desperate bleat that betrays her position, to every ear attuned to weakness. But her small voice is swallowed by the thunder of hooves and the distance growing between her and the herd. The instinct to regroup is strong, but the herd's survival depends on moving forward, not looking back. She is left behind, a solitary figure dwarfed by the endless savanna, her vulnerability exposed beneath the vast African sky. As the dust settles, silence descends, a heavy, unnatural quiet that amplifies every heartbeat, every breath. The world feels suddenly empty, yet danger lingers in every shadow. The warmth and safety of the herd are gone, replaced by a chilling sense of isolation. The calf's instincts scream for cover, but there is nowhere to hide. Every shadow becomes a threat. The slightest rustle in the grass sends a jolt of terror through her small frame, her senses stretched to their limits by the need to survive. She has no experience, no knowledge of the dangers that surround her, only a primal urge to find her mother, the one anchor in a world of uncertainty. It is then that she sees the lioness. The predator's silhouette is unmistakable, muscular, poised, and utterly silent. The air thickens with tension as the two lock eyes. The lioness is the apex hunter of the Serengeti, her golden eyes unblinking, her body language a study in lethal intent. She reads the calf's every movement, every tremor, calculating the perfect moment to strike. For most wildebeest, such an encounter ends swiftly. The predator's instincts are honed for efficiency, no wasted energy, no hesitation. The lioness's jaws, capable of crushing bone, part in anticipation. Her breath is hot, her focus absolute. The calf's fate seems sealed by the laws of nature. Survivor freezes, her body locked in place by a terror so deep it overrides all thought. Instinct tells her to run, but her legs refuse to move. The lioness towers above her, a living shadow cast by the setting sun. The scent of predator fills the air, thick and inescapable. Every muscle in the calf's body is taut with fear. The lioness lowers her massive head, her whiskers brushing the calf's trembling flank. The moment stretches, the world narrowing to predator and prey. Survivor lets out a weak, plaintive cry, a final, instinctive plea for help that echoes across the empty plain. This should be the end. The savannah's law is merciless. The strong survive. the weak perish. A lone newborn calf is the very definition of vulnerability. The lioness closes her jaws around the calf, but there is no violence, only a firm, controlled grip. The calf's body goes limp, surrendering to the inevitable. Yet in a moment that defies instinct and expectation, the lioness hesitates. Her predatory drive is checked by something deeper, a flicker of uncertainty. Instead of the crushing force of her jaws, the calf feels a gentle nudge, a touch that is almost tender, as if the predator is weighing her next move. The air is thick with tension, every instinct in both animals on edge. The lioness's intentions are suddenly unclear, and in this moment of uncertainty, a bizarre and unlikely chapter in Survivor's life is about to begin. In a breathtaking departure from the relentless laws of the Serengeti, the lioness refrains from harming the vulnerable calf. The air is thick with tension, every blade of grass seemingly holding its breath as predator and prey stand side by side. The calf, trembling and wide-eyed, expects the worst, but the lioness's golden gaze is unexpectedly soft. Instead of lunging or baring her teeth, the lioness lowers her massive head, sniffing the calf with a gentleness that defies her reputation. Her movements are slow, deliberate, as if she is weighing an ancient instinct against a sudden, overwhelming wave of compassion. She settles onto the sun-warmed earth, her muscular body curling protectively around the calf. The calf, still shivering, hesitates before inching closer, drawn by the unexpected safety offered by the very creature it should fear most. The lioness's eyes drift across the horizon, her expression distant and contemplative. This is not the behavior of a hunter, but of a creature momentarily lost in memory or longing. The wind stirs her mane, and for a moment she seems to be searching for something or someone no longer present. Perhaps she has recently suffered the loss of her own cubs. The ache of emptiness lingers in her posture, and the sight of the helpless calf awakens dormant maternal instincts. With no cubs to nurture, her care is redirected, if only for a fleeting moment, to this orphaned stranger. The transformation is remarkable. The lioness, apex predator of the plains, becomes a gentle sentinel. Her presence radiates a quiet strength, and the calf, sensing the shift, relaxes minutely, its breathing slowing as it nestles closer. This fragile alliance does not go unnoticed. In the distance, a herd of wildebeest watches warily, their instincts torn between fear and disbelief. Birds circle overhead, their calls sharp in the stillness, as if narrating this extraordinary scene to the rest of the savannah. As the sun dips lower, painting the sky in hues of amber and violet, a clan of hyenas materializes from the tall grass. Their eyes glint with hunger and curiosity, drawn by the scent of vulnerability and the promise of an easy meal. The hyenas' whooping calls echo across the plains, a chilling chorus that signals their intent. They are the opportunists of the Serengeti, always alert to the faintest sign of weakness. With practiced stealth, they slink through the grass, their bodies low and movements synchronized. The tension in the air sharpens, every animal attuned to the impending confrontation. To the hyenas, the calf is a prize, small, defenseless, and separated from the herd. Their anticipation is palpable, their eyes fixed on the pair. They begin to circle, emboldened by the calf's vulnerability, yet wary of the lioness's formidable presence. Each step is measured, testing the boundaries of her patience and resolve. The calf, oblivious to the full extent of the danger, presses itself against the lioness's side. The warmth and solidity of her body offer a fleeting sense of security, eclipsing the primal fear that lingers in the air. Yet the calf remains exposed, its fate hanging in the balance as the drama unfolds around it. The savannah holds its breath, the outcome uncertain. Sensing the hyena's growing boldness, the lioness rises in a single fluid motion. Her muscles ripple beneath her tawny coat, and her eyes narrow, locking onto the intruders. A deep, resonant growl vibrates from her chest, rolling across the grass like distant thunder. It is a warning, primal and unmistakable, that she will not yield her charge without a fight. The lioness stands tall, her body a living barrier between the calf and the circling hyenas. Her authority is absolute. Even the most brazen of the scavengers hesitate, recognizing the peril in challenging her. The hyenas falter, their advance stalling as they weigh the risks. Hunger gnaws at them, but the memory of a lioness's wrath is a powerful deterrent. The lioness holds her ground, unwavering. Her tail flicks in agitation, but her resolve is unshakable. For now, she is the calf's shield, her presence alone enough to tip the balance. One by one, the hyenas retreat, melting into the encroaching darkness. Their hunger remains, but the cost of this meal is too high. For a brief, miraculous interval, the calf is safe, sheltered by the very animal that should have ended its life. The savannah, so often a stage for violence, is momentarily transformed into a sanctuary. Throughout the day, the pair remains together. The lioness dozes, her breathing deep and even, while the calf lies in her shadow, the two forming a fleeting, improbable family. The afternoon sun bathes them in golden light, illuminating a scene of impossible peace. The calf, exhausted by fear and uncertainty, finally succumbs to sleep, trusting in the lioness's protection. Occasionally, the lioness nudges the calf with her nose, guiding it gently as if it were her own. Her actions are instinctive, a mother's care misdirected but no less sincere. But as the sun sinks and the shadows lengthen, the mood shifts. The truce, as extraordinary as it is, cannot endure the relentless pull of nature. Instincts, ancient and unyielding, begin to reassert themselves. The lioness grows restless, her attention flickering between the calf and the distant calls of her pride. The calls grow louder, tugging at her loyalty and her place within the pride. Her muscles tense, her gaze fixed on the horizon. At last the lioness turns away, her predatory nature reawakened. She strides across the grass, leaving the calf behind as she rejoins her kin. The moment of mercy passes, as quickly and mysteriously as it arrived. Survivor is left alone once more, the memory of the lioness's protection lingering in the cooling air, a testament to the complexity and unpredictability of life on the Serengeti. As the sun slips below the horizon, a deep indigo darkness settles over the Serengeti. The vast grasslands, once golden and alive with movement, now stretch endlessly beneath a sky ablaze with stars. The air grows crisp, and a gentle wind stirs the tall grasses, carrying with it the scents of earth and distant rain. Survivor, the young wildebeest calf, stands alone, her small form barely a shadow against the vastness. The herd is gone, their safety and warmth replaced by a chilling solitude. The night is alive with unfamiliar sounds. Insects chirp in a relentless chorus, their calls echoing across the plains, while moths and beetles scuttle through the undergrowth, unseen but ever present. Far off, a lion's roar rumbles through the darkness, a deep, resonant warning that the night belongs to the hunters. The eerie whoop of a hyena pierces the silence, each call a chilling reminder of the dangers lurking just beyond sight. Every sound is a potential threat, every shadow a possible predator. Survivor shivers, her body aching for the warmth and protection of her mother and the herd. The cold seeps into her bones, and the vast emptiness amplifies her vulnerability. Each passing hour chips away at her strength. Alone, her chances of surviving until dawn are perilously slim. Hunger gnaws at her belly, and fear tightens around her heart. She is cold, hungry, and utterly terrified. The hours crawl by, each minute stretched by anxiety and fatigue. Survivor wanders, her hooves barely making a sound on the dew-soaked earth. Driven by a desperate hope, she moves through the darkness, her every step uncertain. She calls out, her bleats thin and plaintive, swallowed by the vast emptiness. Each call is a plea, a fragile thread cast into the night, hoping for an answer. The silence that follows is heavy, broken only by the distant calls of other animals, none of them her mother. Still, she presses on, her hope flickering but not extinguished. Time becomes meaningless. Each minute stretches into eternity, the ticking of survival echoing in her mind. The night is ruled by predators, lions, hyenas, leopards, and jackals, each one a master of stealth and patience. The memory of the lioness's brief protection is a distant comfort, a fleeting moment of safety in a world now dominated by fear. Every shadow could conceal a leopard, every rustle in the grass a sign of danger. The tall grass, once a playground, now hides threats she cannot see. Survivor moves with caution, every sense straining for danger. She relies on luck, an instinct, her survival hanging by a thread. Hunger intensifies, her body growing weaker with every passing hour. She has not tasted her mother's milk since birth. Her energy fades, and the urge to surrender grows stronger. Several times she collapses, her legs folding beneath her. But something deep within refuses to let go. A primal instinct, older than memory, compels her to rise and continue the search. She sniffs the air, searching for the faintest trace of her mother's scent, her mind clinging to the memory of comfort and safety. The memory of her mother's touch and the sound of her call are her only guides through the darkness. Suddenly, as the first blush of dawn colors the sky, a faint familiar sound drifts across the plains. The world shifts, the darkness recedes, replaced by the soft glow of morning. The sky ignites with hues of orange and pink, the promise of a new day shimmering on the horizon. Survivor lifts her head, her heart pounding. A low, grunting call echoes again. Closer, unmistakable. It is the unique call of her mother, a sound she knows deep in her bones. Hope surges through her exhausted body, banishing the night's terror in an instant. She answers with a desperate, joyous cry, her voice raw but determined. Another call comes, closer still. The bond between mother and calf, forged in the crucible of survival, draws them together. Survivor recognizes her mother's voice, a sound more precious than anything in the world. The mother's calls are urgent, filled with longing and hope, her search as desperate as her calf's. For hours she has scoured the plains, refusing to give up on her lost offspring. Now, after a night of terror and isolation, the impossible is within reach. Against all odds, a miracle is about to unfold on the golden plains. Survivor stumbles forward, her legs weak but her spirit unbroken, drawn by the sound she has yearned for all night. She pushes through the tall grass, her heart racing, until at last she sees her. Her mother stands, calling, her body tense with hope and fear. The moment their eyes meet, the world seems to pause. The calf breaks into a trembling run, her legs barely carrying her across the final distance. She buries her head against her mother's flank, the reunion immediate and overwhelming. The mother licks her calf, her tongue gentle and insistent, reaffirming their bond and soothing the calf's frayed nerves. Survivor begins to nurse, the warm, life-giving milk flooding her empty. Survivor's joyful reunion with her mother brings renewed strength, but the journey is far from over. The migration's most daunting challenge still lies ahead. As the dry season tightens its grip, the Serengeti transforms. The once lush grasslands fade to brittle gold, and the air shimmers with heat. Water sources dwindle, leaving behind only shrinking pools and treacherous mud traps, their surfaces cracked and deceptive. Survivor's mother, desperate for water, edges too close to a muddy pool. Her hooves break through the crust, sinking deep into the viscous mire. Immobilized, she struggles in vain. Each frantic movement only draws her further in. Panic surges, the mud clings with relentless force, threatening to claim her. For a wildebeest, such vulnerability is a death sentence. The savannah offers no mercy to the weak or trapped. Survivor, still light enough to avoid the mud's grip, stands helplessly on firmer ground, her eyes wide with fear and confusion. The scent of distress drifts on the wind, a silent signal to the ever-watchful predators. A lioness, patrolling her territory, detects the opportunity. Her senses sharpen, and she moves with calculated intent. She stalks through the brittle grass, each step measured, her gaze fixed on the struggling wildebeest. Survivor's heart races as she senses the predator's approach. Instinct urges her to flee, but loyalty roots her in place. She is too small to help, too weak to defend. The savannah's harsh reality is laid bare. All she can do is watch, frozen, as the lioness draws ever closer. But in a final, desperate surge, Survivor's mother summons every ounce of strength. With a mighty heave, she breaks free from the mud's grip. She stumbles to solid ground, escaping mere moments before the lioness can strike. The narrowest of escapes, but the journey continues. Ahead, the greatest obstacle of all, the river crossings. The herds gather at the banks, a living tide of anticipation and dread. The Grumeti and Mara rivers stand between the wildebeest and the promise of green pastures. Their waters are swollen, muddy and swift. The banks are steep and slick with mud, making every step a gamble. The current is relentless, churning with hidden dangers. The herd hesitates, crowding at the edge. Fear and urgency ripple through the mass as the pressure from behind builds. It takes a single act of courage. A lone wildebeest leaps, breaking the tension. The rest follow in a thundering cascade. The river explodes with movement. Hooves churn the water, bodies collide, and the air fills with the sound of frantic splashing and desperate calls. But beneath the surface, the river conceals its deadliest threat. Nile crocodiles, ancient and patient, lie in wait. Their eyes barely break the surface, tracking the chaos above. Some reach 6 meters in length, armored and powerful. They have not eaten for months, waiting for this moment. They position themselves downstream, where the current sweeps the exhausted, the young, and the injured directly into their jaws. Survivor and her mother plunge into the torrent, swept along by the herd's momentum. Panic reigns as animals scramble for footing, some climbing over others in their desperation. The water churns with bodies, the cries of calves separated from mothers echoing above the roar of the river. Survival depends on instinct and strategy. Some wildebeest swim in tight groups, hoping to confuse the crocodiles. Others aim for the narrowest points, where the current is swift but the crossing is shortest. The strong push forward, the weak are swept aside. Every crossing is a test of endurance, luck, and the relentless will to survive. After braving the river's perils, the wildebeest herd presses onward, but the threat of predators is never far behind. Every step across the vast Serengeti is shadowed by the presence of hunters, each waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The Serengeti is a living tapestry of predation, where a diverse cast of carnivores, each with specialized tactics, competes for survival. Here, the balance between hunter and hunted is in constant flux. Spotted hyenas are the most numerous of these predators. Their social structure is complex, with clans sometimes numbering over 80 individuals. Hyenas operate with remarkable coordination, communicating through a range of vocalizations and body language. Their intelligence allows them to plan ambushes and outmaneuver even the most vigilant prey. Far from being mere scavengers, hyenas are formidable hunters. Working together, they can bring down fully grown wildebeest, using endurance and teamwork to exhaust and isolate their quarry. At night, their eerie whooping calls echo across the plains, signaling to the herd that danger is near. These calls coordinate attacks, drawing clan members together for a concerted assault under the cover of darkness. Hyenas are relentless, probing the herd's defenses at all hours. They test for weakness, searching for the young, the old, or the injured, anyone who might falter. Among the grass, cheetahs lie in wait. Built for speed, they are the fastest land animals, capable of explosive acceleration that leaves most prey with little chance of escape. A mother cheetah, responsible for her cubs' survival, scans the herd for vulnerable calves. Her keen eyes track every movement, calculating the odds of a successful hunt. When the moment is right, she explodes from the grass, using stealth and speed to close the distance in seconds. Her hunts are brief but intense, relying on surprise and agility. The wildebeest, however, are not defenseless. Instinctively, the herd tightens its formation at the first sign of danger. Adults form a living barricade, horns facing outward, encircling the calves. This defensive wall deters most predators, who risk serious injury if they press too close. For the cheetah, a single misstep can mean a crippling injury. She must weigh the risk of a defensive kick against the reward of a meal, often abandoning the chase if the herd stands firm. Calculating the odds, the mother cheetah retreats, melting back into the grass to wait for a more opportune moment, her patience as much a weapon as her speed. For now, Survivor remains protected, enveloped by the vigilance and unity of her family. Yet the greatest threat of all lies in the tall grass, the lions. These apex predators are the undisputed rulers of the Serengeti. Masters of stealth and teamwork, lions use the cover of grass and the element of surprise to ambush their prey. Their hunts are meticulously coordinated, with each member of the pride playing a specific role. During a hunt, lions create chaos, stampeding the herd and isolating the weakest individuals. Their power and strategy make them a formidable force, even against the largest prey. The ever-present threat of lions keeps the herd on edge, their senses sharpened by the knowledge that danger could erupt at any moment. At night, the deep, resonant roars of lions roll across the plains, a chilling reminder of their dominance and the peril that lurks in the darkness. Survivor and her mother instinctively remain at the heart of the herd, where safety is greatest. Every movement in the grass, every shadow among the rocks, is scrutinized for signs of lurking predators. Even after a hunt, the cycle of predation continues. Scavengers quickly converge on the remains, ensuring that nothing is wasted. High above, vultures ride the warm air currents, their keen eyesight scanning for the slightest hint of a carcass far below. Patient and ever watchful, vultures gather in anticipation, waiting for their moment to descend. As soon as the predators have finished, the vultures descend in a swirling mass, squabbling and jostling for access to the remains. Their efficiency is unmatched. Within hours, they strip a carcass to the bone, preventing the spread of disease and returning vital nutrients to the ecosystem. The silent, circling forms of vultures at dusk are a stark reminder of the Serengeti's harsh realities. Here, every creature is both hunter and hunted, and the line between life and death is drawn anew each day. As the relentless cycle of the seasons continues, the Great Migration completes its monumental journey, returning once more to the southern plains, the very place where Survivor first opened her eyes to the world. No longer the vulnerable, trembling calf of her earliest days, Survivor now stands tall among her peers, her body lean and strong, her eyes bright with the knowledge gained from a year of constant movement. Over the past year, every day has brought new lessons. She has learned to read the subtle cues of the herd, to sense the tension that ripples through the group at the first hint of danger, and to react with the speed and precision that only experience can teach. Her muscles, once unsteady, now propel her with power and grace. She sprints across the grasslands, her hooves pounding the earth in perfect rhythm with the thundering herd. Survivor has grown into her long legs, mastering the art of endurance. She has learned to conserve her energy during the long marches and to unleash her full speed when the moment demands it. The Serengeti has become her classroom. She recognizes the scent of distant rain carried on the wind, the subtle rustle of a predator in the tall grass, and the safest routes through rocky outcrops and treacherous river banks. Each challenge has sharpened her instincts. Her gaze is steady, her posture confident. She is no longer just a survivor by name, but by nature. As she matures, a new challenge arises. the gradual separation from her mother. The bond that once meant safety and guidance now gently loosens as nature calls her to independence. This transition is a pivotal moment in a wildebeest's life. The young must learn to navigate the complexities of herd dynamics, forging their own paths while remaining part of the collective. Her mother, following the ancient rhythm of the plains, prepares to mate again and nurture a new calf, ensuring the continuity of the lineage. Survivor must now find her own place within the vast, ever-shifting herd. She learns to recognize the subtle hierarchies and alliances that govern group movement and safety. With independence comes responsibility. She is now solely accountable for her own survival, relying on her sharpened senses and hard-earned wisdom. This newfound autonomy is the ultimate test of her upbringing. Every decision, when to graze, when to run, where to rest, can mean the difference between life and death. The lessons learned at her mother's side, how to cross a river, how to sense danger, how to blend into the herd, are now deeply embedded in her instincts, guiding her every move. Her independence is soon put to the test. The edge of the herd is a dangerous place, where the watchful must always be ready. A coalition of 3 cheetah brothers, renowned for their speed and teamwork, fix their gaze on her as she grazes near the periphery. The cheetahs begin their silent approach, fanning out to encircle her, their movements perfectly synchronized. But Survivor is vigilant. Her ears flick, her muscles tense. She senses the threat before it fully materializes. She scans the horizon, reading the subtle shifts in the grass, the faintest sound of paws on earth. Her keen senses alert her to the danger, giving her precious seconds to react. As the cheetahs burst from cover, she launches into a sprint, her stamina and agility now her greatest assets against the predator's explosive speed. She weaves through the herd, using the confusion and density of the group as a shield, outmaneuvering the cheetahs and leaving them behind in a swirl of dust. The cheetahs, thwarted, watch as she rejoins the safety of the herd. Her quick thinking and experience have saved her once again. With each passing year, Survivor completes another full circuit of the Great Migration, her journey marked by countless trials and triumphs. She faces the perilous river crossings, where crocodiles lurk beneath the surface, and the endless muddy plains, where exhaustion and hunger test her limits. Each challenge overcome is a testament to her resilience and adaptability, the very qualities that define a true survivor. She has faced the terror of lions, endured nights alone on the open plain, and survived the most dangerous journey on the continent, again and again. Now she is an integral part of the great river of life, her story inseparable from the endless movement of the Serengeti's herds. Survivor's journey is a living symbol of the strength, endurance, and adaptability that define her species, a testament to the wild, untamed beauty of the Serengeti and the remarkable animals that call it home. After successfully navigating 3 full migrations, Survivor reaches full maturity. The vast Serengeti stretches before her, a living tapestry of golden grasslands, scattered acacia trees and distant thunderclouds promising rain. She's now a prime adult female, strong and healthy, her coat sleek and eyes bright, a veteran of the endless march shaped by the trials and triumphs of the wild. The annual rut transforms the acacia woodlands into a stage of primal energy. The air vibrates with the calls of thousands of wildebeest, dust swirling as herds gather beneath the dappled shade. Powerful bulls clash, their horns locked in fierce combat. Each battle is a test of strength and endurance, the victors earning the right to gather harems and pass on their lineage. Survivor, guided by the same ancient instincts that drive the migration, moves among the herd. She is drawn into the timeless ritual, her senses attuned to the rhythms of the land and the pulse of the herd. Her journey has led her to this pivotal moment. Here she will pass on her hard-won resilience, her genes forged by survival, to the next generation. The migration presses onward, and the herds arrive at the southern calving grounds. The plains, lush and vibrant after the rains, are alive with anticipation, the very place where Survivor herself first opened her eyes. The air is thick with the scent of rain-soaked earth. Dew clings to the blades of grass, and the land is transformed into a sea of green, nourishing the countless mouths that depend on it. In this place of renewal, Survivor quietly separates from the herd, seeking a secluded patch of grass where she can bring new life into the world, away from the chaos and noise. She lies down, her breathing steady, and in the gentle warmth of the afternoon she gives birth. The process is swift, instinctive, and silent, nature's choreography unfolding in the tall grass. A small female calf emerges, trembling and wide-eyed, her legs unsteady as she takes in the world for the first time. The bond between mother and daughter is immediate and unbreakable. All around, other calves are born, and the plains echo with the soft bleats of new life. The great circle of life turns once more, each birth a testament to the resilience of the species. Survivor stands protectively over her calf, her body a shield against the world. She is vigilant, her senses sharpened by years of hardship and survival. She licks her daughter clean, removing the scent of birth and encouraging her to stand. With gentle nudges, she imprints her unique scent, ensuring the calf will always recognize her mother's presence. The dangers of the Serengeti are never far. Predators lurk at the edges of the herd, their eyes fixed on the vulnerable. Survivor remains alert, scanning the horizon for any sign of threat. The first hours are the most critical. The calf must learn to stand, to walk, and to run, skills that mean the difference between life and death in this unforgiving land. Survivor leads her calf through the grass, teaching her to stay close, to move with the herd, and to heed the subtle cues of danger and safety. She is now the mother, the teacher, and the guardian. Every lesson learned, every hardship endured is now a gift she passes on to her daughter. As dawn breaks over the plains, mother and calf stand side by side, their silhouettes framed by the rising sun. Survivor's story of endurance becomes the foundation for her calf's journey. The path ahead is fraught with peril. The young calf must learn to run with the herd, to navigate the shifting tides of migration, and to survive the relentless challenges of the wild. Under her mother's watchful gaze, the calf stumbles, then finds her footing, learning to keep pace with the thundering mass of wildebeest that stretches to the horizon. She will face rivers swollen with rain and teeming with crocodiles, and she will learn to sense the presence of lions and hyenas hidden in the grass. The seasons will test her as they have tested every generation before. But this calf has a crucial advantage. A mother who has survived it all, whose instincts and experience are her greatest inheritance. Survivor, once a vulnerable calf herself, now stands as the guardian of her own legacy. Through her, the thundering pulse of the Great Migration endures, and a new generation takes its first steps into the wild heart of Africa. As the sun climbs higher over the Serengeti, a hidden world of complex relationships unfolds within the vast migration. The endless herds may seem like a single surging mass, but beneath the surface, intricate social dynamics shape every movement, every decision. Within the wildebeest throng, family units form the backbone of survival. Mothers and calves remain tightly bound, their low calls a constant thread of reassurance. Older siblings linger nearby, forming protective clusters, each animal's position in the group a reflection of age, experience, and past alliances. Dominant bulls lead satellite groups, their authority established not only through battles, but by the subtle cues of posture and movement, respected by subordinates who fall in line behind their chosen leader. Zebra herds, ever-present companions of the wildebeest, weave their own patterns through the migration. Their keen eyesight and sharp senses act as an early warning system, and their tendency to graze on tougher grasses clears the way for the more delicate-mouthed wildebeest. It is a silent partnership, zebra and wildebeest moving together, each species benefiting from the other's strengths. At times, tension flares as stallions challenge one another for control of harems, their shrill calls ringing out across the plains. Yet, in the face of danger, these rivalries are set aside. The drive to survive unites the herd in a single urgent purpose. Interspersed among the great herds, smaller groups of gazelles keep to the fringes. Agile and alert, they rely on their speed and vigilance, ever wary of both predators and the jostling masses of larger animals. Occasionally, a lone buffalo bull appears, a formidable presence tolerated at a distance by the other grazers. His unpredictable moods command respect, and few dare to cross his path. Predators, too, are woven into this social tapestry. Lion pride stalk the margins of the migration, their own hierarchies dictating who leads the hunt and who claims the first bite. Hyena clans shadow the herds, their matriarchs enforcing strict discipline within their ranks. Even among competitors there are moments of uneasy truce, lions and hyenas drawn together by opportunity, each testing the other's resolve in a delicate balance of aggression and restraint. The migration is not just a test of endurance, but of cooperation and competition. Friendships form, alliances shift, and rivalries simmer beneath the surface. Every animal's fate is tied to the social web that connects them, a network of relationships as vital as the rains that nourish the land. In this ever-changing mosaic, survivor and her calf find their place. They move with the herd, guided not only by instinct, but by the subtle signals of those around them. Each day brings new encounters, new lessons in the art of coexistence. Here, in the heart of the migration, life is a constant negotiation, where unity is strength and every bond can mean the difference between life and death. Across the boundless plains, the migration is shaped not only by the creatures themselves, but by the ever-changing moods of the land. Weather is both a silent guide and a relentless adversary, its whims steering the herds, dictating their pace, and testing the limits of their endurance. As the dry season deepens, the earth cracks and hardens beneath countless hooves. Waterholes shrink to muddy remnants, forcing wildebeest, zebra and gazelle to travel further under the punishing sun. Dust swirls in shimmering waves, coating hides and stinging eyes. The animals adapt, resting during the hottest hours and moving under the cover of dusk and dawn, when the air is cooler and the promise of water draws them onward. When the first distant thunderheads gather, anticipation ripples through the herd. The rains are life itself, a signal to move, a promise of renewal. As the storm breaks, sheets of water sweep across the plains, transforming dust to lush green almost overnight. Wildebeest calves, their coats still dappled, frolic in the newfound grass, while their mothers graze eagerly, replenishing their strength. The herd spread out, taking full advantage of the abundance but always wary. New hazards emerge as the landscape changes. Flooded rivers become treacherous barriers. The current is swift and crocodiles lurk beneath the surface, alert to the vibrations of hesitant hooves. Some animals hesitate, searching for shallows or waiting for the boldest to lead the way. Others, shaped by years of migration, know to cross in tight clusters, their instinct for unity offering the best chance of survival. Lightning storms, too, pose their own dangers. Flashes split the night sky, sending shockwaves of fear through the herds. In these moments, the animals rely on their acute senses, ears flicking, nostrils flaring, muscles tensed to flee from unseen threats. Adaptation is key. Buffalo and wildebeest lower their heads, shielding their young, while gazelles seek the cover of acacia thickets until the danger passes. Temperature swings are equally unforgiving. Cold nights settle like a blanket over the savannah, and the youngest, most vulnerable calves huddle close to their mothers for warmth. During these hours, the herd's close bonds become a shield, conserving heat and offering comfort against the elements. Even as the weather shapes the migration, the animals respond with resilience and ingenuity. Their survival depends on recognizing subtle changes in wind and scent, learning where to find shelter and knowing when to move on. In this dance between earth, sky, and living beings, every storm and every drought becomes a lesson, an ever-evolving test of nature's power and the enduring will to survive. Beneath the thunder of hooves and the spectacle of predator and prey, a quieter drama unfolds, one that is orchestrated by the lesser-known inhabitants of the savannah. These unsung heroes, often overlooked amidst the grandeur of the migration, are vital threads in the fabric of this ecosystem. Termites, for example, are nature's engineers. As millions of animals trample the grasslands, termites break down the tough, fibrous remnants, transforming them into rich, fertile soil. Their mounds, rising like earthen beacons, help aerate the ground and channel rainwater deep below the surface. In the wake of the herds, these tiny architects lay the groundwork for the grasses that will feed next year's migration. Dung beetles, too, play a pivotal role. With each passing herd, the savannah is dotted with droppings, an abundant resource for these industrious insects. Working tirelessly, dung beetles roll and bury these nutrient-rich parcels, fertilizing the earth and controlling parasites that might otherwise threaten the herds. Their labor ensures that the plains remain healthy, year after year. Birds such as oxpeckers and cattle egrets are ever-present companions to the herds. Perched atop the backs of wildebeest and buffalo, oxpeckers feed on ticks and other parasites, providing relief to their hosts and maintaining the health of the herd. Meanwhile, egrets stalk the grasslands, snatching insects and small prey stirred up by the migration's passage. Even creatures as inconspicuous as the African grass mouse and the burrowing mongoose contribute to the balance. These small mammals aerate the soil and disperse seeds, encouraging new plant growth in the wake of the herds. Their tunnels offer shelter to countless insects and reptiles, forming a network of life beneath the surface. As the migration sweeps across the plains, every species, no matter how small, plays its part. Each action, from breaking down waste to dispersing seeds, supports the next cycle of life. It is a testament to the complex web of interactions that sustains the savannah, proving that survival here is not just the story of the strong, but of the interconnected, the adaptable, and the unseen. Amidst the rolling thunder of hooves and the swirling dust of the migration, a quieter struggle unfolds, one that is written in the wide eyes and trembling limbs of the youngest travelers. For every seasoned adult, there are countless calves, foals, and fledglings taking their first uncertain steps across the savannah. Their journey is fraught with peril, each day a test of endurance, instinct, and luck. At dawn, the herds begin to move. Newborn wildebeest, just hours old, must rise and run, their spindly legs struggling to keep pace with mothers who can offer only brief moments of shelter. A misstep can mean falling behind, and the margins of the herd are dangerous places. Here the air is thick with the scent of opportunity for lurking predators, hyenas, jackals, and crocodiles, ever watchful for signs of weakness. The smallest zebras, their stripes still fuzzy, seek comfort in the shadows of their mothers. But as the sun climbs, exhaustion and dehydration set in. Rivers, swollen from distant rains, pose yet another threat. For the young, the current is swift and unforgiving. Each crossing is a gauntlet. Some are swept away, while others, too weak to swim, are forced to cling to the backs of adults or risk being separated forever. Even the skies bring danger. Overhead raptors circle, their keen eyes searching for the slow and the lost. Ground nests, hastily built in the open grass, are vulnerable to trampling hooves and prowling mongooses. Tiny chicks must crouch low, relying on camouflage and stillness to avoid detection. Yet, amid these trials, small victories shine through. A calf finds its footing and rejoins the herd after a harrowing river crossing. A foal, shielded by a wall of adults, survives a night of prowling lions. The bonds of family and the instinct to protect run deep. Mothers call softly to their young, guiding them through the chaos, while older siblings flank and shield the most vulnerable. For the young and defenseless, survival hinges on resilience, the strength of the herd, and the fragile hope carried with every step. Their journey is one of constant risk, but also of extraordinary courage, a testament to the relentless will to live that beats at the heart of the Great Migration.